Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. Today is going to be my fourth installment of my Shock to the Past series. For those of you who aren't aware of what this series is, it's films from the 60s, 70s and 80s that shocked audiences back then and how they shape up by today's standards. Today we're going to be looking at an American film from 1984 directed by Ken Russell, and this film is called Crimes of Passion. So Crimes of Passion is definitely a very daring film, and I can appreciate where Ken Russell really took the viewer in this film. This is a movie that's showing you sex in a very different light. This is not a fluffy romantic film. This is definitely a very disturbing look at lust and how lust is a lot different from romance, and each and every one of these characters is very tormented to the point where I thought as though it was a very disturbing experience. So it's basically about a man who has a wife and two children. It's a very loveless marriage that this guy has, and then they haven't had sex in a very long time, so he's longing for a connection. And the part of the reason why this marriage is not going so well is because this guy's not making enough money. So one day he is approached by his boss, and his boss has an inkling that one of his employers actually giving information to a rival company, and so he wants this main character to follow her day in day out to see if his hunch is in fact a reality. So he starts to do this, he starts to follow her, but then he starts to become consumed by this woman's other world. I'm not going to tell you what that is, but this is basically a chance for this man to get what he is looking for, and basically what he's looking for is satisfaction. And so along the way he realizes that there's a psychotic priest who's also taking a liking to this woman, and he is going to try and save her soul, even if it means hurting her. So it's going to be a love triangle that's going to get very warped very quickly, and what happens at that point on, that's something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. So as I said, it's a very, very daring film, and I thought it's a very visually striking film, and I thought the visuals really contributed to the nature of lust. And there's a difference between lust and romance, and the romance is very fluffy, it's very beautiful, and so you've got a very polished world as far as romance is concerned. But when it comes to lust, lust is a completely different avenue. It's a very objective avenue. Like, these characters were treated as objects, and I thought the visuals really shine through to give you that atmosphere. It's a very sleazy atmosphere. This movie reeks of filth, and it makes you want to go and have a shower at the end of the film, and it feels like you've been caught in the wrong part of the city. And so I thought the visuals have a striking effect in telling you the story of lust and the difference and how destructive sex can be if it's used in the wrong way. And so each and every one of these characters, this woman played very well by Kathleen Turner, she is a character that's longing for a connection as well, but with what she's doing in her life is she's not able to get that. So she's becoming she's becoming numb to what love is, and she's just going through the motions, and it's very disturbing what she does. And so she's been pushed to this limit by society, and it's showing you, as I said, that sex is not always a beautiful thing, and it does go into lengths that actually shocked me. There's one scene in particular involving a police officer that I'm not going to go into, but it really shocked me at how far Ken Russell actually went with that. So it does show you sex in a very different light, and as I said, the visuals play a strong role in giving you that sense of discomfort. So it's a very, very haunting film, and it's a haunting film from the performances of Anthony Perkins in particular. Now, Anthony Perkins plays a psychotic priest. Now, this priest is absolutely bonkers. He's a little bit too caricature for my liking, but there is a lot of dark humour in his character as well, but he's a terrifying presence because he's been consumed by the Bible, and the Bible has very strict rules on sex, and once again, this is looking at sex from a different aspect as far as religion is concerned. So when religion, sex, and lust all combine together, it's a pressure cooker, and you know that it's going to explode at the end, and that's exactly what it does. So the performances from Kathleen Turner, a lot of people say it was an absolutely brilliant performance, but I do have problems with the characters, and this is ultimately where the film lets itself down, is that it's a little bit too caricature, it's a little bit too surreal. So there are moments, there's a lot of music in this film that does make it very different, so it is a very unique experience, and it's a very extreme experience, so it definitely qualifies in this series, but the problem with it is that it's a little bit too caricature, so it doesn't hit you on a reality sort of basis. It's not as raw as it really should have been, and so I thought it would have been a lot more shocking if it just grounded and stayed a little bit more composed than it does, and give you a little bit more likability to these characters, especially the main character of this man. I didn't really like him at all, and yes, I know that his loveless marriage is contributing to the person that he is, but I just thought with a little bit more likability and a little bit more realism into the overall situation, this movie would have been a lot better. And so, as I said, Anthony Perkins' character, he's very funny and very scary at the same time, but he's over the top, and so the whole nature of this film is a little bit over the top, and I just thought it doesn't strike you as hard as it really could have if it just stayed a little bit more composed and a little bit more calm. So, as I said, It's a very important film by today's standards as far as extreme and shocking films are concerned, because it does show you the power of lust and how, it's not all fluffy romance in films. That actually sex can be a very devastating thing, and sex is definitely the driving force that is consuming everybody in this film, that brings them down, and it starts a downward spiral into pure filth and sleaziness that the film reeks through the visuals. So it's a complementing film in a lot of aspects, but unfortunately I just thought that with a little bit less caricature nature in this film, it would have been a lot better. So definitely go out there and see it. It's a very, very interesting film, but I just don't share the love for it. I don't think it's the masterpiece that a lot of people make it out to be. Alright guys, that's it for my 4th episode. Until the next episode, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.